Hey friends, welcome to my channel. I'm so excited that you're here with me, keeping me company on this cold Friday. Winter is here. My cold immunity system this year is negative 1,000 because as soon as I get out and cold just fills my lungs, I get a cold. That's it. Now I have a cold. This is the God knows what time I'm getting a cold again. So I can't wait for winter to be over. We have 1 month left and I cannot wait. I feel like every single week I get someone either on my Instagram DMs or my TikTok DMs telling me about how they are thinking of moving, or they're making plans to move, or they want to move, or something in those lines. And usually I'm like, oh, that's good. What are you planning to do? Most of them obviously usually tell me they're planning to study. Most of them have even done their research. Some are asking what's the best and all that. And it got me thinking, like, is moving abroad really for everyone? I was thinking the other day of how literally in every country you go to, there's two people you'll never miss, and one is an Asian and the other one is a black person. So they could be African, they could be Jamaican, but a black person and an Asian in every country in the world, you will find at least one. So I was just wondering, like, is moving abroad really for everyone? In as much as people have glorified it and it's seen as this thing where you move, you get opportunities, you get money, you get all those things, but is it really for you? And I hope by the end of this video you'll be asking yourself some questions to try and find out, like, even if you want to move abroad, like, I hope it gets you thinking more if it's something that is really for you. So let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Lisa and thank you for watching this video. Now, one thing you need to consider when you're thinking about moving abroad is the cultural shock. Moving abroad will present you with shocks on shocks on shocks that you did not even know you had in you. And this is one thing that people do not necessarily prepare for, because I do not think there's anything that can prepare you for the cultural shock that you can experience unless you actually live there and get to experience it yourself. And while some people actually thrive in a new environment with all the shocks that come their way, food, people, dressing, language and all that stuff, some people actually find it very overwhelming. Remember, if you're moving either alone, with your partner, with your family. Like, it's just that small unit of yours. Like, you're not carrying the whole village unless you're planning to but you're not planning to carry the whole village, I'm sure. So you're just moving either you, yourself, your partner, your kids and stuff like that. Now, in that small circle, you're all experiencing shock in different ways, because definitely how you were raised is different from how you're raising your kids. So some things they've been exposed to, you've probably not been exposed to, and it will all come as a shock. So even as you're thinking of moving abroad, think of how you're going to adjust to the new way of living, and research. Probably if you want to move to Australia, research what is the culture like. Is it something you can actually live with and easily adapt to? That's a question. Is it a yes or no? If it's a no, stop. If it's a yes, let's move to the second point. Whether you're moving alone, with your family, with your partner, moving abroad will definitely come with moments of homesickness and isolation. You're alone in a new place, you're trying to adjust, it's just your small circle, You do not even know any friends, so you can't go take food to your neighbors. You know the way life home back home is, like interacting with neighbors, interacting with friends. You've left literally everything. And such feelings can honestly be very challenging, especially when you think of the whole aspect of making new friends again. How is this gonna work for me? I'm just trying to make money, I'm trying to study, how is this all going to work for me? And let me not lie to you, making friends in a new place as an adult is challenging. Especially in a world where I feel like we're all on social media and people rarely go outside to make friends. Like, it's challenging, but it's not impossible. It's challenging, but not impossible. So these are things you need to consider. Like, bear in mind that even as you're planning to move abroad, at some point you are going to be homesick. At some point you're gonna feel isolated. I feel like this is just like a rite of passage. Like, you have to pass through it before you can fully say, I am living abroad comfortably. So is this something you're willing to deal with? Okay, point number 3. Now, depending on the kind of job you're doing back home, depending on your profession, depending on your career, depending on your side hustle, if you have any, finding a job abroad may be different from finding a job back home. So you've been doing, say, hospitality, you're in the hospitality industry back home. Is it the same when you move abroad? You've been probably teaching, and you've been teaching Swahili, for example, if you're in Kenya or Tanzania. Now, when you move abroad, what are you gonna teach? And these are the things you need to consider, because sometimes I feel like we are so wowed by the fact of moving abroad and the opportunities it presents that we actually forget what we've been doing back home may not necessarily translate to better money if we do the same thing abroad. So these are things you need to think about and really see, like, is moving abroad for me? Can I actually still move up the career ladder in my teaching profession, in my creative industry? And are there any language barriers, for example, that this job presents where I'm planning to move? What are the work permit restrictions? Remember, you're moving from a place where, I mean, you did not need any work permit before you started working. As long as you're 18 and above, you can start working. But you're moving to a place, do you need work permit? What are the restrictions? If you're moving as a student, how many hours can you work? In one of my videos, I said that the Australian government has actually cut down on the number of hours an international student can work when they're studying. And you need to consider some of these things. If you're moving as a student, how many hours can you work? Can that sustain you? Can it sustain your family if you're moving with your family? If your career is thriving back home, then why do you want to move abroad? Why, I ask? Or why do you feel the need to move abroad? Write down the answer or type it in the comments. All right, the other point is while many countries speak English, and English is seen as a primary language for many countries, not everyone is fluent in English. Obviously, some people, English is their second, third, fourth, fifth language. So if you're not willing to learn a new language, for example, if you're going to a place where English is not the first language, even though they speak English, and you might find it hard to learn their language, is there any reason for you to move to that place? Why are you even thinking of moving to that place? I feel like I'm attacking you. But consider these things, like, why do you want to move to China if you don't know Chinese? Think beyond the money. Think about the little tiny things. And the last one, and one that many people do not consider, is finance. I feel like so many times people are like, you'll make more money there. You there, by there I mean abroad. You'll make more money there. You just go. Eh? Let us have a small meeting and talk about how expensive life is abroad. Like, if I tell you how much I'm paying for rent here in Kenya shillings, the math is not mathing. It is not mathing. So think about this. Weigh your options. How much are you making back home? How much are you spending? What is the cost of living back home compared to abroad? Do not just compare in terms of, oh, people are telling you like what you're making in a month at home you can make in a week abroad. Think about how much rent are you going to be paying, how much are you going to be spending on food, how much are you going to be spending on school fees if you're coming as a student, because but here I am still going on. So think about these options. Think about every single thing. Like, even if you're to move, and yes, it is more expensive, yes, the cost of living is high, but you still want to move, think about the end goal as well. Like, yes, hopefully you'll make more money. What are you going to do with this? Hopefully you'll be better placed career wise. How does that impact you in a positive way and stuff like that? So if you're planning to move, I hope this video has enlightened you a bit on some of the things that may not necessarily be talked about. And if probably you're a partner to someone who's planning to move and you're not so sure if you should make the move, think about this. See if it is still something that you guys can work around. And yeah, who knows? Moving abroad might be for you, moving abroad might not be for you. It is not for everyone, because if it was for everyone, I would all be abroad. That brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. As usual, if you have any comments, questions, feedback, please leave it in the comment section below and I will be sure to respond. If you haven't, please subscribe and I will see you in my next one. Bye!